Welcome to the Fourth Down Experience, the podcast devoted to special teams. Your host of the Fourth Down Experience, former pro free agent, 9-year professional kicking coach out of the Midwest, Coach Chris Hughesby. Alongside Coach Chris Hughesby is a former 2-time Arena Bowl champ, 9-year pro kicking coach, repping the South, Coach Brian Jackson.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Brian Jackson of the Fourth Down Experience podcast, along with Chris Hughesby, and we're excited for season 3. We started off real hot, doing well with Taylor Russolino, giving us a lot of insight on the XFL kicking rules, which is just quite bizarre. But I'm excited to see those games coming up here soon in February. But we wanted to rehash and catch up with a good friend of ours and his award, Fred Mitchell. Welcome back to the show, Fred.
Thank you. Good to be back, you guys. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year, Fred. Thanks for coming back on with us.
My pleasure.
Yeah, and so Fred he's the honorary member of the Fred Mitchell Award, and you know, you guys made your selection there towards the end of the season, and so we wanted the listeners to hear kind of about the selection process and more about the award, and also maybe some of the finalists and of course the award winners. So
yeah, this is the 11th year of our award. We have a 35-member selection committee, as you guys know, and it's a process in which we monitor the various kickers from over 750 colleges in America, which cover FCS, Division II, Division III, NAIA, and community colleges. So, in other words, all the schools besides Division I, which is about 120 colleges maybe. And that award is the Lou Groza Award, but there are actually over 750 other colleges, and there have been some great kickers who've gone on in the NFL over the history of the league and done exceptionally well and come from the smaller schools. So this year we have a tremendous group of talented kickers and exceptional kickers, actually. And also part of the criteria is community service. So sometimes that is a difference maker, when it comes down to the top 2 or 3 guys, and that it makes a difference for most all of us on the selection committee. But this year's winner is Luis Aguilar from Northern Arizona University, and Luis is a junior. Luis was exceptional to the point where he made 22 of 25 field goals. He was perfect inside 40 yards. And beyond 40 yards, he was, 10 for 13, including a 57-yarder, which was the longest, I guess, in FCS in the country, and a 54-yarder. And he made all 52 of his extra points. So he had a total of 118 points. And he also led the FCS nationally with, I think it was 81 touchbacks on his kickoffs.
Wow. So
tremendous leg, really a breakout season. This is really his first full season as the regular place kicker. I think the previous year he was 4 of 8 and handled punting chores mainly. So this was his breakout year as a place kicker. And boy, did he open a lot of eyes with the way he handled himself. As far as the off the field stuff, he was active with the Salvation Army, with their back to school buddy program. He helped out in the community. I guess they had a museum fire tragedy, and he assisted in the efforts to help people during that time. By all indications, he's a great young man. If anybody has an opportunity to check out YouTube, you can actually see the phone call that I made to him to notify him that he won the award, and his reaction was priceless. The sports information director was kind enough to take a video of him as he was receiving the news from me on the cell phone, and all of his coaches were in the room at the same time with him. He didn't know why he had been summoned to the coach's office. He thought he was in some kind of trouble, I think. And I announced who I was, and he just kind of covered his face, and he knew what was coming next, I guess, and said he was really looking forward to hearing my call. So that's always a highlight for me every year, is to be able to personally let the winner know that he's won the award, and how much that means to us, and their reactions, like I say, are priceless.
For Brian and I, for the listeners here, Brian and I were blessed enough to be added to the selection committee for the Fred Mitchell Award this year. So on our end, it was really fun to go through the process over the whole season to see how everything went about. But to the people who have not maybe listened to the past interview that we had with you, describe the selection process in the top 10 list as well.
Right. So we start out late July, early August with a preseason watch list. And our chairman of our selection committee is Rob Perry, and he handles most of that, where he tries to communicate with all of the sports information directors across the country, and asking them if they, in their opinion, have a kicker who might fit the criteria that we set out for them. So we get that collection of names, and in addition to what they turn into us, all of us have a watchful eye on the internet, and look for the top kickers in the country to make sure that they can at least get on the watch list. And invariably, there'll be others. There'll be guys like Luis Aguilar, for instance, who's not on our watch list because he had not done anything exceptional his sophomore year. But we monitor what these guys do on a month-to-month basis and give them recognition in September, October, November, and say that these are the guys who had exceptional months with multiple field goals, game-winning kicks, clutch kicks, all of these things that stand out, make the headlines. So then by the end of November, we come up with a top 10 list, and then the selection committee picks their top 3 and come up with the numbers and come up with a winner. And every year, like I say, we have some great kickers, and I always like to point out that it's not only the winners who have an excellent opportunity to go on to the next level. And we've had a few of the winners kicking the NFL already, and we've had some guys who were in the top 10. We've had some guys who came on in the middle of the season and maybe didn't get the notice that they could have, who've had opportunities in the NFL and have kicked. Mm-hmm. Greg Zerline comes to mind with the Rams, who's one of the league's top kickers now, extremely strong leg. He had transferred to a school in Missouri, a Division II school, I believe. And he kind of went under the radar for a while, and we kind of noticed and caught up with him. But he's a guy who is a good example. And there have been 2 or 3 other guys who either were in the top 10 or acknowledged at some point, during their final season in college, that maybe didn't win the award, but had opportunities in the NFL and made the best of it. So I always like to point out that it can only be one winner. It was just like the Heisman Trophy. There's only one winner, but that doesn't mean that the rest of the guys in the top 3 or top 5 are going to be excellent pro prospects. So this year we had Grayson Atkins was one of the guys in the top 10 from Furman, and I just saw recently that he posted that he chose to graduate early from Furman, and he's going to be a graduate transfer at North Carolina as a kicker. and we wish him the very best of luck. I had the pleasure of meeting him at your national kicking camp last June, and he really showed a strong leg. I remember watching him and posting a video of him kicking a 63-yarder to win at place kicking competition at that camp. But Grayson, looking at his stats, it looks like he was 11 for 12 on field goals, including a 55-yarder, and he was 6 for 7 between a 40 and a 49. So yeah, I could tell from watching him last summer that he was a very, very polished and poised kicker with a tremendously strong leg. So I wish him the best. Dante Brown is another name to watch from Fort Hays State University in Kansas. Last year he was 19 of 23. I think he's even a little bit better than that as a junior. And he last year he had a long of 56 yards. So I hope he gets an opportunity at the next level as well. Mitchell Finrun from Sanford, I remember watching him, and he had a good solid year as well. Jaden Haig, Wisconsin Oshkosh. Daniel Laudette from Concordia, University of Minnesota, in the top list, finalists. Amy Pogue from Hardin-Simmons. McLean Robertson from Wingate University in North Carolina, Division II school. Elijah Storm Ruiz. That's another guy to keep an eye on. He was 21 of 26, including a 54-yard field goal. He had a nice, solid career. He was a finalist the past couple of years for the Fred Mitchell Award. Sam Thoreen from Hamilton College in New York. I think that completes the list. So these are all of them are very worthy individuals. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been included in the top 10 list, both as kickers and as well as community-minded individuals. So we wish them the very best of luck.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I just really wanted to comment on for the listeners and for guys that are listening that may have not made the top 10 or were in the top 10, or high school guys that are going to college, or guys that just got into FCS, D2, D3, and below schools. You guys have to develop a relationship with your administrative office, and you have to find out the person that is your sports information director or the equivalent. Okay, so it's on you guys to find out who that media person is, or sports information director. And the typical acronym is the SID. And there were several cases this past season where, there would be guys that would message Chris and I and Coach Mitchell and say, hey, was there a reason why I wasn't on the list, or did you guys check my stuff out? And the committee does a great job of making sure that they contact your SID. So it's ultimately on your SID. And the cases that I know that I personally dealt with, that's what happened. The SID was contacted, but didn't do anything about it, or didn't read the email or whatever. So, that's on you guys. You guys have to make that connection. And you also have to document your community service hours with whatever organization that you're doing community service with, because those are important checkboxes for you to meet the criteria of the watch list. And obviously to get the finalists and all that, you have to perform in the field, like Coach said. So I just wanted to reemphasize that, Fred.
I'm glad you did. You really do have to advocate for yourself. Particularly in smaller schools where the sports information director's duties are spread over, all the sports. Maybe doesn't have as much help as you would see at a major college. So a lot of these SIDs are well-intended, but some things get overlooked and they don't stay on top of things the way they should. So it's up to the individuals, the kickers, to advocate for themselves. I always use my personal experience in college. Going into my senior year, I thought, I was curious about what some of the national small college kicking records were. So I wrote to the NCAA News Bureau and asked for a list of them, just out of curiosity to see if I was close. And then I realized that I had a good shot at breaking the career scoring record for kicking. And I went to my sports information director, who was not aware of that, and I showed him the letter from the NCAA, and it was from there that I was able to get the acknowledgement. I went on to break that record. But had I not advocated for myself and checked that out, that probably would have gone by the boards and nobody would have noticed, and I would have been out of luck. So got some outstanding stats, and you think you should be noticed, then you have to really advocate for yourself to make sure that that recognition comes to you. It's deserved.
Yeah, exactly. So what's next now? So you contacted Luis. What's the recognition element of the Fred Mitchell Award?
Yes, on February 17th at Hallis Hall. This is where the Chicago Bears train. It's the annual award ceremony for the National Football Foundation. There'll be some other awards given out as well, but there will be coaches. Some Big Ten coaches will be there. The Illinois coach, Illinois State coach. A lot of these people will be there. There'll be former Bears players, some of whom are on the selection committee. Some Hall of Famers will be there. Ted Hendricks is always there. He lives in the Chicago area, the Stork, as he was known. A lot of prominent people. So this is a highlight coming up on February 17th, and I will be able to hand Luis Aguilar the Fred Mitchell Award trophy. His school will receive scholarship money, and then his family will be up here as well. We'll go out to a private dinner afterwards with members of the selection committee and meet him in person. The winner come in on a Saturday, either Friday night or Saturday. We'll take him out to lunch on that Saturday at a restaurant on Michigan Avenue in Chicago. And there's actually a display in the Chicago Sports Museum. And they were kind enough many years ago to put up a display case of the Fred Mitchell Award. We've got my old college jersey and the old square-toed shoe that I used to kick with back in the day.
Nice.
And explanation of the award. And after we have lunch with the winner, we go over and have a little ceremony and have a replica of the trophy that he's going to be handed out. And then put that replica trophy in the case with his name on it. Then we take a bunch of pictures and have an enjoyable afternoon on a Saturday. Then Sunday, we'll either take them to a game or let them sightsee in Chicago or whatever. And then on Monday, the award ceremony is at Hallis Hall in Lake Forest, in suburban Chicago. We'll have the ceremony, and he'll give a little speech of recognition, and then afterwards we'll go out to dinner again on that night. So it's a great weekend, a memorable one. A lot of pictures will be taken, and people can look at our website, fredmitchellaward.com, and there'll be numerous photos of that event. And you can check us out on Facebook as well, and on the internet, and see all the information about previous winners as well as our current winner. It's a great time.
That's awesome. I think you do a great job of trying to recognize kickers, obviously, of the lower tiered schools, which I think is great because the FBS schools get all the attention typically, and so I think this is a great opportunity for kickers who are active in the community and also have successful seasons statistically, to give them that opportunity to get recognized. That's
I always point out that if this award had existed in the '90s, for instance, Adam Vinatieri went to South Dakota.
Yep, that's South Dakota State.
Right, so that's I think it's Division II. So he would have been eligible for our award, NFL's all-time leading scorer. Tom Dempsey, who for so many decades held the record for the longest field goal in the NFL, went to a junior college in California. You can go down the list of so many outstanding kickers in history in the NFL who came from the small schools. And they deserve every bit of recognition as the kickers who come from the major colleges. We always say that there's no difference in the size of the field or the width of the goalposts, whether it's Division III or Division I. So that's one thing that's quantifiable at every level.
Yep, exactly. So, not to foreshadow the future here, so any of you college guys, specialists and kickers, at the D2, D3, NAIA, and JUCO levels, if you're, say, freshmen or sophomores or juniors and you're, revving up to be the starter next year, or, you think you're going to have an improved season, just make sure as the season gets going that you contact your sports information director as well to inquire about being considered for the Fred Mitchell Award watch list and recognition throughout the months of the season. So,
yeah, we need the cooperation of as many people as possible. And we do the very best we can, and we can always use more help. And the thing about kickers is that the stats speak for themselves. It's not like we're trying to evaluate defensive tackles or guards, or, where you have to watch them to see how good they are. Mm-hmm. If you kick a 45, 50-yard field goal, we don't care what it looks like. We know what that encompasses to be able to do that. We want to recognize as many people as possible. If we get 100 guys who deserve that kind of recognition, we'd be more than happy to do that.
All right. Well, Fred, we appreciate you being on again.
Thanks for having me.
Discussing the finalist winner, Luis, and look forward to speaking with you in the future about next year and next year's watch list and letting kids be aware of what to do for next year.
Thank you so much, and it's a year-long process, isn't it, to watch? And I know that this new XFL league is starting up in a couple weeks, and we've got a couple of our previous winners that I know of who are going to be kicking.
Oh, awesome!
In that league, yeah. So Sergio Castillo, I think, is with Houston, and Cole Tracy. So those are two guys that I'm aware of already won our award. We're going to be kicking professionally. Sergio Castillo, I should point out, has had an amazing career in the Canadian Football League. After getting tryouts in the NFL with Atlanta and New Orleans, he had a tremendous year last year in Canada. I think he made 41 out of 45 field goal attempts.
Oh, that's great.
At least 5 over 50 yards. So, yeah, we'll be eager to see how those guys do, too.
Nice. Yeah, that'll be fun. It's going to be an interesting league to follow. And
even though they don't have extra points, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's a whole nother podcast discussion right there. So.
Yeah, and all you guys that are interested in the award, we'll be getting information out soon for this summer for a college camp, and we'll try to get Fred down there for evaluation and all, and just be on the lookout. And thanks again, Fred, for getting on with us and just catching up. It's nice to hear from you, and you guys did a phenomenal job selecting Luis.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, and we'll keep spreading the good word.
All right. Have a great evening.
You too. Thank you.
Yep. Bye, Fred.
Luis Aguilar, 22 for 25 on the year, long of 57. Pretty solid stats. Perfect on his pass, 52 for 52, and 61 total touchbacks. So, Fred Mitchell Award 2019, Luis Aguilar from North Arizona.
Yeah. I'll say it again. Obviously, it was a blessing for us to be added to the selection committee this year. What was really impressive, obviously, was to see the behind the scenes of it all. They put a lot of work into trying to find the best specialists out there for FCS and below. But even to be a part of the voting committee when you saw the top 10, everybody on that list was super qualified. And it was incredible to see, just the talent level, which, from even just kind of stepping back and talking about recruiting and trying to play college football, it really doesn't matter what school you go to in the end. It's if you can do the job. And a lot of these guys that made it to the top 10 list were very talented, and it was incredible to see.
Yeah, no doubt. Everything's been professional, organized. They all just do a phenomenal job from top to bottom. So it's been really fun to be part of. And I can't wait till 2020. This is going to be fun. I just really hope guys understand the value of coming to the camp, to have a chance to be put on that preseason watch list with us and Fred. And so just be looking for the dates coming out soon.
All right. Thanks, guys, and we will see you next week.
See you.
Thank you for listening to the Fourth Down Experience. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Fourth Down Experience.